What if I told you one of America's most iconic sodas started as a medicinal tonic brewed by 19th century pharmacists? That's right, root beer, this frothy, sweet, and sometimes polarizing drink, has roots deeper than its sassafras flavor. It's a story of experimentation, prohibition, loopholes, and a whole lot of fizz. Ready to dive into this deliciously weird history of root beer? Grab a mug because this is Munchville, where we serve up food history with a side of fun. Let's go! The origins: herbal medicine in a mug. To understand root beer, we need to go way back before soda fountains, before cans, and even before sugar was king. The story begins with indigenous Native American tribes who brewed herbal teas from roots, berries, and barks for medicinal purposes. Sassafras, the plant that gives root beer its distinctive flavor, was often boiled into tonics thought to cure everything from colds to stomach aches. Think of it as the original health smoothie, but a lot earthier. When European settlers arrived, they adopted and adapted these herbal remedies. Colonists brewed small beers, low-alcohol drinks made with herbs, spices, and roots. These beers weren't about getting drunk. They were safer to drink than water back then and packed with medicinal benefits. Sassafras soon became the star of these brews. Why? It had a rich, aromatic flavor that masked the less appealing notes of other roots and herbs. The birth of root beer as we know it. Fast forward to the 19th century, this is where the real magic happens. A pharmacist named Charles Hires is credited with transforming root beer from a medicinal brew into a fizzy favorite. In the 1870s, Hires created a powdered mix of herbs, roots, and spices that customers could brew at home. He branded it as a health drink, claiming it purified the blood and was a safer alternative to alcohol. Here's the kicker: Hires didn't actually call it root beer at first. His product was originally marketed as Hires Root Tea. Why the switch? He realized the word beer appealed more to the working class, beer-loving Americans of the time. By the time he debuted his root beer at the 1876 Philadelphia Centennial Exposition, it was an instant hit. Root beer had arrived and it was here to stay. Prohibition: root beer's time to shine. Root beer's rise wasn't just about taste, it was about timing. During the Prohibition-era in the 1920s, when alcohol was outlawed, root beer became a star. It was marketed as a dry alternative to alcoholic beverages. While breweries struggled to stay afloat, soda fountains thrived, and root beer became a staple. This was also when the creamy addition of vanilla or ice cream gave birth to the root beer float, also known as the Black Cow. Legend has it that Frank Wisner, a Colorado tavern owner, created the first root beer float in 1893. He noticed the snowy peaks in the mountains around him and thought, hey, that looks like ice cream on soda. The rest is delicious history. The sassafras scare and modern root beer. Here's a fun twist. The very thing that made root beer famous, sassafras, was banned in 1960. Scientists discovered that safriol, a compound in sassafras oil, was carcinogenic in large doses. The ban sent root beer makers scrambling to find alternatives. But fear not, modern root beer uses artificial flavors or extracts of sassafras that don't contain saffrol. The result? You still get that classic root beer flavor without the cancer scare. Some brands even mix in wintergreen, licorice, anise, and vanilla to create their signature taste. Root beer has evolved, but its essence remains the same. Root beer brands, the legends, and the contenders. When we think of root beer today, a few names come to mind. A&W. Founded in 1919, A&W was one of the first root beer brands to sell its product on draft. It's also the genius behind the first chain of root beer stands. Think of it as the first fast food soda empire of its time. Barks. Barks has bites. This brand broke the mold by offering a slightly sharper, less sweet root beer with a touch of caffeine. Mug. The creamy, smooth favorite that's been a staple for decades, Mug root beer delivers that nostalgic soda fountain vibe. IBC. A smaller player, but beloved for its old-fashioned glass bottles and rich flavor profile. Each brand has its own spin on root beer, from frothy and sweet to bold and spiced. This diversity is part of what makes root beer so special. There's something for everyone. Root beer's unique role in American culture. Root beer is more than just a soda. It's an experience. From frothy mugs at a drive-in to root beer floats on a hot summer day, it's deeply tied to American nostalgia. It conjures images of family outings, soda fountains, and classic diners. It's also one of the few sodas that has maintained a quirky, almost cult-like following. People either love root beer or hate it. There's rarely an in-between. This polarizing nature adds to its charm, making it a conversation piece at any gathering. And let's not forget root beer's role in regional traditions. In Wisconsin, for example, root beer floats are practically a state pastime. In the Pacific Northwest, craft breweries experiment with small batch root beers, often adding local ingredients like honey or wild berries for a unique twist. The role of root beer in pop culture. Root beer isn't just a drink. It's a cultural icon that's been immortalized in movies, TV shows, and even music. From the nostalgic images of 1950s soda fountains to its association with classic diners and drive-ins, root beer evokes a sense of Americana like no other beverage. It's often portrayed as the go-to drink for characters who want to keep things wholesome yet fun, a fizzy, frothy symbol of simpler times. Root beer floats, in particular, have become synonymous with celebrations, family gatherings, and first dates. Who doesn't smile at the sight of a frothy mug overflowing with creamy vanilla ice cream? Even brands like A&W and Mug have become household names, their logos ingrained in American pop culture. This enduring connection to nostalgia and community is what keeps root beer relevant, proving it's more than just a drink. It's a slice of American history. Fun facts about root beer. It's alcohol-free, usually. While most root beers are non-alcoholic, some brands make hard root beer for adults who want a boozy version of their childhood favorite. Sassafras has ancient roots. Beyond its use in root beer, sassafras was once thought to ward off evil spirits and even used as a snake bite remedy. It was almost overshadowed by cola. Root beer's popularity peaked before cola drinks like Coca-Cola and Pepsi took over the market in the early 20th century. Root beer's comeback in the craft movement. In recent years, root beer has experienced a revival thanks to the craft soda movement. Just like craft beers, small batch root beers emphasize quality ingredients, bold flavors, and unique recipes. Artisanal brands often skip artificial flavors, using natural spices, honey, and even cane sugar for a richer taste. This trend has sparked a new appreciation for root beer, especially among younger generations looking for nostalgic, yet elevated drinks. Bars and restaurants have also jumped on the trend, offering root beer on tap or pairing root beer floats with gourmet desserts. How to enjoy root beer today. Root beer is one of the most versatile sodas out there. Here's how you can enjoy it. Classic root beer float. Vanilla ice cream plus root beer equals happiness in a glass. As a mixer, root beer pairs surprisingly well with bourbon or spiced rum for a bold cocktail. Craft root beer tastings. Try artisanal root beers from local breweries. You'll be amazed at the flavor variety. Cooking with root beer. Use it as a glaze for ribs, as a marinade for pulled pork, or even in cakes for a sweet spiced kick. Root beer isn't just a drink, it's a journey through American history. From its humble beginnings as a medicinal tonic to its heyday at soda fountains and its modern craft revival, it's a drink that's always evolving, yet stays true to its roots. So, the next time you pour yourself a frosty mug of root beer, take a moment to appreciate the history, the flavor, and the quirkiness of this beloved soda. Let us know in the comments, what's your favorite way to enjoy root beer? And are you team root beer float or just straight up fizz? This is Munchville, your go-to channel for food stories that fizz, froth, and fascinate. Hit that like button, subscribe for more, and share this video with someone who loves or needs to love root beer. Until next time, happy sipping and happy exploring.